Suicide Squad, written and directed by James Gunn, released in 2021. In case you're not caught up somehow, the film is about a bunch of supervillains in a prison who are sent on a suicide mission to basically save the world. This is a spoiler-free review, and I'll talk spoilers at the end for people who want to know what happens in the film, who've already seen the film. This isn't scripted either. I've got a few notes on my screen here, but it's just going to be a free-form thoughts about the movie because I really want to talk about it. So, the original Suicide Squad, which came out in 2016, I didn't hate. I thought it was okay. At the time, I actually really enjoyed it. In hindsight, it's pretty bad. It's not terrible, but it's pretty bad. It's got a fantastic trailer. I'll always say it's got one of the best trailers I've ever seen, and like it built so much hype for that film. And the cast is really good too. I loved Will Smith as I can't think of his name now, so that just shows how good the movie was. But I loved him in the movie. Deadshot, that's his name. I loved him as Deadshot. Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. Everyone knows she's fantastic. That's why they brought her back for this movie. But the film overall, it squandered its potential. It had potential to be something really good, but it was just trying too hard to be edgy, and there was studio interference, and it was just a confusing mess. And there's a reason this movie got made. It's because the last one kind of sucked. So after Disney fired James Gunn, he was signed on for Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and some old tweets he made came up that were controversial. They fired him, and DC instantly realised, okay, we're in trouble here, and Marvel is doing so much better than us. We're going to hire James Gunn, give him rights to the Suicide Squad, give him $185 million and let him make whatever he wants. Don't get in his way, because he made Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2, which I think are some of the best Marvel films. I think they're fantastic. And DC realised this guy knows how to bring together a ragtag team of sort of villains, really, but make them feel like a family and make a really enjoyable film. So this film, Suicide Squad, I absolutely loved. I think it's fantastic. I think it's one of the best films this year. I think it's the best DC film I've ever seen since The Dark Knight. And I hope everyone else that sees it enjoys it. I adore this film. So firstly, the cast is incredible. Idris Elba is Bloodsport. He's pretty similar to Will Smith in the first film. They actually considered bringing him back, but they said, no, we're going to put in Idris Elba because we don't have a new Suicide Squad. We don't want to rely too much on the old one. They brought in Idris Elba. Will Smith said he's still interested in playing Deadshot from the first movie, so they just replaced Deadshot with Bloodsport, who's basically Deadshot, and he worked really well in this film. John Cena as Peacemaker was also really, really great. He was really funny, and he had great quips, and he fit the character really well. And him and Idris Elba's character have a really good dynamic where they're trying to prove who's better, and it's really fun to watch. There's a great scene where they're showing off who can do the coolest kill, and there's a joke revealed at the end of it that worked really well for me, so I just really liked the characters and how they worked off each other. Ratcatcher 2, pretty obscure character. She brings a real sense of heart to the film. She's a real sweetheart. She shows like how family and friendship can really bring this team together, and she really worked well in the film. King Shark, played by Sylvester Stallone, is genius casting. I think it's such a genius idea to bring in Rocky, like Rambo himself, to play an animated shark, but he was so funny. I loved his character. Again, really wholesome, really sweet, but extremely funny, and just worked really well in the film. The returning cast do a really good job. Like, they brought back Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn because she's fantastic. She's been fantastic in the first Suicide Squad. She's been fantastic in Birds of Prey. As you can see, I'm wearing merch from the first Suicide Squad film, but she was excellent. Her character was given much less of that disgusting male gaze they gave her in the first one. She's no way sexualized in this one. She's just a funny, insane character, and I really enjoyed watching her. They brought back Rick Flag, who was the boring soldier in the first movie that nobody cared about. I forgot who he was until I saw this movie. But they give Rick Flag a really good character. He's got backstory, he's got, a personality. And he plays off the Suicide Squad themselves really well because he's the grounded man. He's normal. He's pretty, straight, clean cut. But the rest of them, it shows off how unique and interesting they all are, and it worked really well. The movie has all these ridiculous characters like Polka Dot Man. He shoots polka dots, but the James Gunn really makes them work. I don't know how he does it, but he makes the superpowers cool, and he makes the character himself really interesting. Amanda Waller is also back for the first one. She's sort of the head of the whole operation, and Viola Davis plays her, and she is so good at just portraying this disgusting, horrible person who just manipulates and bullies her crew. It's so well done. Viola Davis absolutely killed this role. And I just really like the cast of this movie. They all do a really great job, and they all work really well with each other. The whole movie looks fantastic. It's bright, it's colourful, it's gory, which we'll get into later. But there's this fantastic action scene. You've seen the trailers where Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn is moving through a prison, and she's shooting out machine guns, and there's flowers flying out the end. It's almost like what she sees in her head while everything's going on. There's these little animated birds flying around the place, and it looked really cool. It looked ripped straight from a comic book, which a lot of the film does. There's a few shots that look like they're really paying homage to the comics that James Gunn was raised on. But she was fantastic, and everything was fantastic. So the violence... James Gunn wrote a film called The Belko Experiment, which I was a huge fan of, and it was extremely violent. He didn't direct it though, so it didn't come out as well as it could have. But I loved James Gunn's sense of humour with violence, and this film is extremely gory. Like, it's 16 rated here, which is R rated in America, but it worked really well in the context of the film. Like, it's stupidly gory, and like, it wants to be seen, it wants to be violent, it doesn't shy away from blood and guts, but it's never excessive. It does a lot of it, but it's never there when it doesn't have to be. It's there for a joke or for a purpose, and it was really, really, really well done. There was an excellent licensed soundtrack in this film, which the first one had great songs in it, but they did not fit whatsoever. So they'd put like Seven Nation Army over a scene of like the squad getting ready. It just didn't fit whatsoever. But this film, the licensed soundtrack, there was, I don't know, maybe 10 songs that were licensed, and they all fit really well. And the original soundtrack I thought was excellent too. It was just really distorted guitars and distorted vocals, and they really fit the film. They have this dirty grindhouse feel that the film kind of does too. The film was really funny. It's that James Gunn writing style of like playground insults the characters throw at each other, and like some of them were a bit corny and some of them were a bit too childish for me. I didn't really laugh that much at them, but overall I laughed a lot during the film. Like, most of the jokes hit really well, and there's just the visual gags. Like I said, the way the violence is used is really funny. This is James Gunn's film. There's no studio interference with this one like there was with the last. It's absolutely James Gunn's film, and you can tell because it's got a heart to it. The sense of family and camaraderie in this group is fantastic. They all slowly start to become more and more close to each other, and there's little quarrels and stuff going on between them. But especially with Ratcatcher 2 and Bloodsport, they just have this really, really nice sense of community, and it's really wholesome. In a film like this, it's weird to call it wholesome, but it's surprisingly nice. It's got a nice feel to it. Also, it is James Gunn, so it's loud, it's gory, and it's funny. Like, it wants to be seen, it wants to be known, but it worked really well. My only issue with the film is the main villain, the Thinker, played by Peter Capaldi. He's pretty bland. He isn't given much to do. He's almost a MacGuffin in the film. They kind of use him as an item, which I wasn't a big fan of. It was boring. But the huge monster in the film, Starro, I thought was pretty interesting. The backstory of that character, I guess, was narratively and cinematically a lot better than what they did with the Thinker. But that's my really only issue with this film. Everything else I really adored. I thought this was everything the first Suicide Squad should have been, and more. It feels like the most unadulterated form of the Suicide Squad. And I hope you all enjoy it. I'd give it a 9 out of 10. I think it's a fantastic movie. I can't wait to see it again. And now I'm going to get into some spoilers. So that's the end of the spoiler-free section. You can leave the video now if you want to. Do what you like. Spoilers. The violence. So you see this team at the start of the film. You've seen them in the trailers. You know, you got Captain Boomerang, Nathan Fillion's TDK, Pete Davidson's Blackguard. They're all on this plane about to land on the beach and do a mission. They're the Task Force X, and they're about to do a mission. And one thing leads to another, and Pete Davidson's Blackguard, you find out he's trying to sell the team out. And he comes out and he's got his hands up. And there's just a shotgun blows Pete Davidson's skull clean in, and you just see like a mush liquid of guts on his face. It was absolutely priceless and so shocking. I like leapt back in my chair. I was like, this film has balls, this film knows what it's doing. The film wasn't afraid to just kill off characters like that. That entire task force is killed, besides Harley Quinn and Rick Flag. Like, they just bring in Nathan Fillion for like 10 minutes to kill him. Pete Davidson, they kill him. A guy called Javelin, dead. Weasel, dead. They're all just killed, and it's hilarious. It fits so well. I loved the way it was done. Peacemaker, he was killed in the post-credit scene. It's revealed he's still alive. I feel like giving Peacemaker a post-credit scene where he's still alive, which then reveals that Peacemaker is getting a TV show afterwards, I think he should have just died. I think he's a great character. I really liked John Cena's Peacemaker, but I don't see him working very well in his own TV show. I think he's a side character through and through. I can't see him being a main character. Now, I want to be proven wrong. Maybe I will be. But I didn't really like the way they kept him alive. I feel like when Bloodsport shot him and the bullet went straight through his neck, it should have killed him, because it just fit the film more narratively. It just fit, well, in my opinion, it fit better. But I could be wrong. It could be a great show. I don't know. That's about it for spoilers. I thought it was just such a good movie. I'm really passionate about this film. I think so far it's my favourite movie of the year. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Leave a comment if you enjoyed the film too. Let me know what you liked. Let me know what you didn't like. Let me know if you hated the movie. Let me know if you preferred the first movie. I don't think many people did, but I'd be interested to see if you did. And if you did, why? Thank you for watching the video. It's been a weird sort of video. It's long form, just a discussion. But I really like this movie. I like talking about it. And I hope to talk about more movies this passionately in the future. Thanks for watching.